Hey everyone! Welcome back to True Crime Tales. I'm Banu, and today we're exploring a gripping true crime story that started decades ago, but finally saw justice in 2020. Before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more intriguing stories. Let's jump right in! The Golden State Killer case. The Golden State Killer, whose real name is Joseph James DeAngelo, is one of America's most infamous criminals. His crime spree lasted over 10 years, spreading fear throughout California. This story explores his horrific crimes, the investigation that followed, and his eventual arrest and conviction. Early life and background. Joseph James DeAngelo was born on November 8, 1945 in Bath, New York. He served in the U.S. Navy during the Vietnam War and later became a police officer. His career in law enforcement began in Exeter, California, where he worked from 1973 to 1976. He then moved to Auburn, California, where he served until 1979. Ironically, while he was supposed to uphold the law, he was secretly committing some of the most brutal crimes in the state's history. The crime spree begins. DeAngelo's criminal activities began in the mid-1970s. Initially, he was known as the Visalia Ransacker, responsible for over 100 burglaries in Visalia, California. His modus operandi included breaking into homes, stealing personal items, and creating chaos. However, his crimes soon escalated. In 1975, DeAngelo committed his first known murder. Claude Snelling, a journalism professor, was shot while trying to prevent DeAngelo from kidnapping his daughter. This marked the beginning of a series of violent crimes that would terrorize California for years. The East Area Rapist. From 1976 to 1979, DeAngelo's crimes took a more sinister turn. Operating in Sacramento County, he became known as the East Area Rapist. During this period, he committed at least 50 rapes and numerous burglaries. His attacks were meticulously planned. He would stalk his victims, learn their routines, and break into their homes while they slept. He often tied up the male victims and raped the female victims, sometimes for hours. DeAngelo's methods were chilling. He would place dishes on the backs of his male victims, threatening to kill everyone if he heard the dishes rattle. He also made phone calls to his victims before and after the attacks, taunting them and instilling fear. The original Nightstalker. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, DeAngelo's crimes escalated to murder. He moved to Southern California and became known as the original Nightstalker. His first known murders as the original Nightstalker were Brian and Katie Maggiore, who were shot while walking their dog in 1978. Over the next few years, DeAngelo committed a series of brutal murders. His victims included couples who were attacked in their homes. He would bind and bludgeon them to death, often using household items. His crimes were marked by extreme violence and sadism. The investigation. The investigation into the Golden State Killer's crimes was one of the most extensive in California's history. Law enforcement agencies from different jurisdictions worked together, but the lack of advanced forensic technology at the time made it difficult to connect the crimes. In the 1980s, DNA evidence began to play a crucial role in criminal investigations. However, it wasn't until the early 2000s that DNA from the East Area Rapist and the original Nightstalker cases was linked, revealing that they were committed by the same person. This was a significant breakthrough, but the identity of the killer remained unknown. The breakthrough. The case remained cold for decades until a revolutionary technique called genealogy was used. In 2018, investigators uploaded DNA from the crime scenes to a public genealogy database. They found a match to distant relatives of the suspect, which eventually led them to Joseph James DeAngelo. On April 24, 2018, DeAngelo was arrested at his home in Citrus Heights, California. The arrest shocked the community, as DeAngelo had been living a seemingly normal life. He was a former police officer, a father, and a grandfather. His neighbors described him as quiet and unassuming. The trial and conviction. Following his arrest, DeAngelo was charged with 13 counts of murder and numerous other crimes. In June 2020, he pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder and other charges as part of a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. During the court proceedings, victims and their families had the opportunity to confront DeAngelo and share their stories. On August 21, 2020, Joseph James DeAngelo was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentencing marked the end of a long and painful journey for the victims and their families. It also highlighted the advancements in forensic science that made it possible to bring a notorious criminal to justice after so many years. Legacy and impact. The Golden State Killer case has had a profound impact on the field of criminal justice. It demonstrated the power of DNA evidence and the potential of genetic genealogy to solve cold cases. The case also brought attention to the importance of collaboration between law enforcement agencies and the need for continued advancements in forensic technology. For the victims and their families, the arrest and conviction of Joseph James DeAngelo brought a sense of closure and justice. However, the scars of his crimes remain, and the memories of those dark days will never be forgotten. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. We'll be back soon with another gripping story. Until then, take care and goodbye.